Have you ever sat in your own home, the clock ticking softly, the room quiet, and felt like the world had moved on without you? Not because anyone meant to leave you behind, but because life shifted. Kids grew up, friends moved, and suddenly the days felt longer, but less full. You wake up, you do your morning routine, you water the plants, you make tea, and yet, somewhere deep down you wonder, does anyone still need me? You're not alone, and more importantly, you're not forgotten. Every day, millions of older adults, mothers, fathers, caregivers, workers, teachers, wake up with a quiet ache. Not because they're unloved, but because the world stopped reflecting their value back to them. The invitations slow down, the phone doesn't ring, and one small question begins to whisper in the dark. Do I still matter? Here at Timeless Wisdom, we want to say it clearly. Yes, you do. Not because of what you produce, but because of what you carry. A life rich with lessons, stories, insight, and quiet resilience. This video isn't about staying busy or pretending to be young again. It's about remembering the truth that never aged. You still have something to give, and you still deserve to feel connected on your terms. So in the next few minutes, we'll walk with you through 5 simple, meaningful ways to stay socially connected in 2025. Even if you live alone, even if the world feels far away. And if you stay until the end, we'll remind you of something many forget. The people who feel most invisible often carry the most light. Let's help you see that about yourself. Take a breath, sit somewhere soft, and let's begin. Rediscover the value of small interactions. Sometimes we think connection has to be big. A big party, a big trip, a big reunion. But for many older adults, real connection starts small. Sometimes all it takes is one genuine moment. Like saying hello to the same neighbor you pass every morning, or asking the cashier at the store how their day is going, or smiling at someone during your morning walk and watching them smile back. These moments may seem tiny, but studies show that micro-interactions like these can significantly improve mental health, boost self-worth, and even lower feelings of isolation. We once spoke with Mrs. Janice, 73. She told us that for months she barely left the house. Her family lived far, and most of her friends had passed. But one day, she decided to sit outside on her porch with her morning coffee. Her neighbor walked by with a dog. She waved. The next day, the neighbor stopped to chat. The day after that, she brought her grandchild to say hello. 3 months later, they have a standing Saturday ritual, porch coffee and shared stories. Janice said, "I didn't think I had anything to offer. Turns out, I just needed to be seen." That's the power of small interactions. You don't have to start with connection. You just have to start with presence. So if you felt invisible lately, we invite you to do one thing this week. Be visible, even if it's just waving, smiling, asking, noticing, because sometimes the smallest opening leads to the biggest feeling of belonging. Coming up next, we'll talk about how reconnecting with your community, even just once a week, can shift how you feel in your body, in your mood, and in your life. Turn small routines into social moments. Connection doesn't always begin with something big. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as a trip to the market, or a walk to the mailbox, or saying hello to the same neighbor you see every Thursday morning. You see, we often think being social means joining clubs, going to events, or hosting gatherings. But for many older adults, that can feel like too much. So let's shift the question. Instead of asking, how do I become more social? Try asking, where in my day does a moment for connection already exist? Here's a gentle practice. Think of one thing you already do each week. Going to the grocery store, sitting at the park, taking care of your plants, calling your daughter, or even making tea in the morning. Then ask yourself, is there someone I could invite into this moment? Maybe you call a friend while folding laundry. Maybe you ask the neighbor if they'd like to walk with you once a week. Maybe you invite your grandson to help you cook your favorite dish, not to teach him, but to remember together. These small things, they seem ordinary, but they're not. They're bridges. And bridges don't have to be wide, just strong enough to carry a connection across. We met Mr. Allen, 75. He started chatting with the same cashier every week at his local store. Over time, it turned into a warm friendship, and now he says, it's the highlight of my Tuesday. In the next part, we'll explore how joining a group, not for obligation, but for joy, can open up a whole new rhythm in your week. Join a community that shares your joy, not just your age. When was the last time you laughed? Not because something was funny, but because you felt like you belonged. That's the kind of connection we're talking about here. Not forced small talk, not meetings you attend out of guilt, but a real sense of, these are my people. For older adults, social groups can be a powerful source of joy if they're built around shared interests, not just shared age. Maybe it's a walking group at the park, a gardening circle, a weekly book club, a church choir, or even a cooking group where everyone brings their favorite childhood dish. The magic isn't in the activity itself. It's in the rhythm. It's in having something to look forward to, and most importantly, it's in being missed when you don't show up. Mrs. Ellen, 77, joined a free art class at her local library. She hadn't painted since she was a child. Now, every Thursday, she paints with 4 other women and calls them her circle of color. She told us, it's not about what we create, it's that we show up for each other. That's the heart of connection, showing up and letting others show up for you too. Coming up next, what if you don't like going out much? In the next part, we'll talk about how technology, used gently, can actually help you feel more connected, not less. Use technology as a bridge, not a barrier. We know what you might be thinking. I'm too old for all this technology. I don't want to be glued to a screen. I just miss when people used to visit. And honestly, that's completely fair. Technology can feel overwhelming, especially when it seems to replace warm hugs with emojis and long talks with short texts. But here's something surprising. According to AARP's 2024 report, over 75% of adults over 65 now use smartphones daily, and more than half say that technology helps them feel more connected to family and friends. Why? Because they're not using it to scroll endlessly. They're using it to reach someone they care about, to join a video call, to listen, share, and simply say, I'm still here. Mr. Ray, 80, said it best. I thought I was too old to learn, but I realized what I really needed wasn't speed. It was someone to show me with heart. Some elders pick up new apps instantly. Others need a little more time, a little more presence. But both paths are valid because wisdom isn't measured by speed. It's measured by presence and intention. You carry a lifetime of stories, lessons, and insight. You are the library the world is forgetting to open. And when you use technology, even just a little, you make those stories visible again to your children, your grandchildren, your community. So if there's someone you haven't spoken to in a while, maybe today is the day to try. Ask someone you trust to help you set it up. You don't need a perfect background. You just need your face, your voice, your presence. Coming up next, we'll explore one of the most healing forms of connection, inviting others into your world just as it is. You don't have to go out to belong. Sometimes you simply need to open your door. Invite others into your world just as it is. You don't have to go out to feel connected. Sometimes the deepest connection happens when you simply open your door, just a little. One of the most overlooked forms of social activity isn't joining others, it's inviting others into your world. Not a polished version of your world, not when everything is clean and perfect, just as it is, as you are. We spoke to Mrs. Linda, 76, who lives alone and often felt distant from her grandkids. One day, instead of waiting for them to call, she invited them over to cook a meal from her childhood. They laughed at the way she chopped onions, and she taught them how to fold dumplings. She said, for the first time in months, I didn't feel like a guest in their lives. I felt like a home again. You don't need a big reason to invite someone in. Maybe you ask a neighbor to help you plant flowers. Maybe you tell your caregiver about a memory they've never heard. Maybe you offer to teach your grandchild a song your mother used to sing. These moments, simple, unforced, build bridges. They remind others, you're not just old, you're rich with life. And here's something beautiful we've learned. The more you let others see you, really see you, the more they begin to see themselves in you. And that is the beginning of true connection. Coming up next, we'll explore one final way to stay connected. Not by seeking attention, but by giving it. Because when you share what you know, what you love, and who you are, you don't just stay connected, you become unforgettable. Give, and you'll feel connected in a deeper way. There's something we've noticed in the hundreds of older adults we've spoken to. The ones who feel the most connected aren't always the busiest. They're the ones who are still giving. Not money, not grand gestures, but time, attention, wisdom. And the beautiful thing is, when you give something of yourself, you receive something even greater in return, a renewed sense of purpose. We met Mr. James, 87, a retired math teacher. He said that after his wife passed and his kids moved away, he felt like he had no one left to serve. Until one day, a local community college asked if he'd mentor a struggling student, online. He only had to spend 1 hour a week. He said yes. That one student became 2, then 3, and now every Tuesday morning, Mr. James opens his laptop, smiles into the camera, and says, "Let's begin." He told us, "My house is still quiet, but my heart isn't." Giving doesn't mean sacrificing your rest. It doesn't mean becoming busy again. It can be as simple as calling someone younger just to ask how they're doing, writing down life lessons in a notebook and passing it on, offering to help someone learn what you know, gardening, sewing, storytelling, faith, and most of all, giving without expecting anything in return. Just like a smile given freely, a kind compliment that brightens someone's day, or quietly sitting with a friend who needs to talk, without fixing, without judging, just listening. When we help someone else, not for praise, not for credit, but simply because we recognize them as part of us, that's when true connection begins. And maybe sharing this video is a small act of giving too. If someone you care about has been feeling lonely, quietly send this to them, not as advice, but as a gentle message that says, "I see you, I care." Coming up next, let's bring it all together with one simple reminder. You are not behind. You are not invisible. And even when the world is quiet, your presence still speaks volumes. You're still needed here. So maybe you came to this video thinking, "I just want to feel less lonely." But what you've hopefully discovered is that loneliness isn't always about who's missing from your life. Sometimes it's about who you've forgotten you still are. You are not a leftover chapter. You are still part of the story. In this world, you are not just someone who needs care. You are someone who still has wisdom, still has kindness, still has light. And that light, it shines brightest when it touches someone else. Whether it's by inviting someone in, joining a group, picking up the phone, or simply offering a smile to a stranger at the market, connection begins again the moment you open. And here's something we want you to carry with you. You don't have to become someone else to belong again. You just have to become a little more yourself. Before we go, we'd love to ask, what's one thing, just one small thing, you can do this week to feel a little more connected? Share it in the comments, or write it in a journal, or whisper it to yourself tonight. And if there's someone in your life, maybe a friend, maybe a neighbor, who wakes up each day wondering if anyone still sees them, please send them this video. Not as advice, but as a message that says, "You matter, I see you, I'm here." Because in the end, connection doesn't require crowds, it requires courage. And you, dear friend, have more of that than you know. Thank you for spending these moments with us. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue walking this quiet, meaningful path together.